Crescent Moon, have you ever felt the need for a place to pause, let go of all worries, and truly listen to your heart? In today's video, let me take you on an emotional and mystical journey, The House by the Moonlit Lake. A story that leads us to a mysterious lake where memories linger, whispers of the past echo, and hopes for the future quietly bloom. Here, you'll meet Hannah, a woman carrying a tale of loss and healing, intertwined with the greatest secret of the Moonlit Lake. Together, we'll explore how she rediscovers peace within herself, understanding that sometimes letting go doesn't mean forgetting, but learning to embrace and love oneself again. Sparkles, get ready to immerse yourself in the tranquil and profound world of the Moonlit Lake, a place where every memory and emotion is eternally preserved. Backhand index pointing right. If you enjoy gentle yet meaningful stories, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and share this peaceful vibe with others. Let's spread serenity far and wide. Let's dive in. Milky Way. You don't quite remember how you ended up here. Perhaps it was a purposeless journey, an unexpected turn, or simply an invitation from nature itself. All you know is that when you looked up, the scene before you stopped you in your tracks. A vast lake stretches out before you, its surface still and mirror-like, reflecting the amber and gold hues of a waning sunset. The trees lining the shore lean protectively toward the water, casting shadows that seem to guard something precious. The air carries the scent of fresh grass, cool mist from the lake, and the faint aroma of solitude. Not melancholy, but peaceful. At the edge of the lake, a narrow path winds into the forest. Drawn by an invisible pull, you step forward, each footfall echoing quietly in the stillness. And then, through the towering trees, you see it, a small wooden house. It isn't grand, but it holds an inexplicable charm. The weathered wooden walls bear the patina of time, its moss-covered roof blending seamlessly with the forest. A thin wisp of smoke curls up from the chimney, a quiet signal that someone is home. A low step leads to a cozy porch where an old wooden chair rests beside a pot of blooming wildflowers. As you approach, a small golden dog appears from the porch. Its bright eyes and gentle wagging tail greet you as if you were expected. "Welcome," a soft voice calls from the open doorway. You look up to see a woman standing there. She seems to be in her 40s, her frame slender yet steady. Her sun-kissed skin and faint wrinkles around her eyes hint at a life well lived. Loose strands of long hair are tied back, revealing a face with warm, contemplative eyes that hold a touch of mystery. "I'm Hannah," she says, her smile as gentle as the day's last rays. "Don't be shy. Come in, and let me make you a cup of tea." Crossing the threshold feels like stepping out of the world you knew. Inside, the house radiates a cozy vibrancy. The wooden walls are adorned with hand-painted landscapes, books line neatly arranged shelves, and a fireplace in the corner burns brightly, filling the room with a warm golden glow. Hannah gestures toward a comfortable armchair near the fire. "Have a seat. You've traveled far," she says. You sink into the chair, feeling its softness embrace you. Hannah disappears briefly into a small kitchen and returns with 2 steaming cups of tea. She hands one to you, the gentle aroma of herbs instantly soothing your senses. "This tea is made from herbs found around the lake," she explains, settling into the chair across from you. "It helps you relax and connect with this place." You take a sip, and the refreshing taste washes over you, melting away your fatigue. In the flickering firelight, Hannah begins to speak. "Years ago, I came here, just like you. It was a quiet place, but it held a kind of healing power. I decided to stay and build this house, to share this sanctuary with those who need it." Her words flow like a soft melody. You don't ask further, but something in her gaze hints at a deeper story, a secret she isn't quite ready to share. You glance out the window, where darkness has begun to envelop the lake. The faint moonlight reflects off the water, turning the scene surreal. Hannah rises to her feet and smiles. "You're welcome to stay the night," she says, her voice gentle and inviting. "This place is always open to those who need a moment of rest." You nod, a profound sense of relief washing over you. The lake's stillness, the warm glow of the fire, and Hannah's soothing voice weave together to create a space unlike any you've known before. a sanctuary for letting go and beginning anew. Hannah leads you down a small hallway to a guest room she's prepared for you. The room is simple yet cozy. A wooden bed with a neatly folded quilt, a small wardrobe, and a window overlooking the lake. A soft glow from an oil lamp on the table adds to the serene, timeless atmosphere. "This is your room," Hannah says softly. "Outside is the lake and forest, where dreams and memories often meet. If you have trouble sleeping, just look out the window. The Moonlit Lake has a way of soothing weary souls." You thank her and sit on the bed, feeling a deep sense of belonging. Hannah smiles, gently closes the door, and leaves you alone with the peaceful room. Familiar sounds fill the night. The chirping of insects, the gentle lapping of water against the shore, and the rustling of leaves in the breeze. You draw the curtains slightly, allowing the moonlight to stream in. The lake shimmers like a ribbon of silver in the darkness. Just as you're about to lie down, a faint sound catches your attention. It's not loud, just a soft, rhythmic tapping, as if someone is stepping across the stones near the lake's edge. Curious, you move to the window and peer out. In the moonlight, you see Hannah. She stands near the water's edge, the silvery light catching her long hair, making her appear like part of an ethereal painting. In her hands, she holds a lantern, the flickering candle inside casting a dim, mysterious glow. She seems to be whispering something, but from this distance, you can't make out her words. Hannah moves slowly along the shore, stopping at a certain spot before lowering the lantern onto the water. It floats gently, its light mingling with the moon's reflection as it drifts away, carrying with it an unspoken secret. You don't want to interrupt the moment, but you can't take your eyes off her. She turns briefly, and for an instant, it seems like her gaze meets yours through the window. Hannah doesn't appear startled. Instead, she offers a faint smile before turning away and disappearing into the shadows. The next morning, you can't resist bringing up what you saw. As you sit at the breakfast table, sunlight streaming through the windows and the aroma of toasted bread filling the air, you ask cautiously, "Hannah, last night I saw you by the lake. The lantern, what does it mean?" Hannah sets down her cup of tea, her eyes twinkling with mystery but remaining kind. "The lantern is part of the traditions of the Moonlit Lake," she explains, her voice blending seamlessly with the tranquil surroundings. "I release one whenever I feel the need to let go of something, or when I wish to send a message to the ancient spirits of the forest." You frown slightly, not fully grasping her meaning. "Ancient spirits? What do you mean?" Hannah smiles softly, her expression teasing but not unkind. "You'll understand if you stay here long enough. The Moonlit Lake isn't just a place of peace. It's a gathering of memories, dreams, and sometimes unfinished matters. But don't worry," she pauses to reassure you. "The lake only welcomes those who need it." Hannah stands, her gaze drifting to the lake through the large window. "Tonight, I'd like you to join me for a small ritual," she says. "We'll release lanterns onto the lake. It's a way to connect with yourself and with the lake. All you need to bring is something you wish to let go of, or a deep desire from your heart." You nod, curiosity stirring within you. Although you don't fully understand Hannah's words, her sincerity and the magnetic pull of her presence make you trust her. Hannah turns back, her smile gentle. "Take the day to reflect. Tonight, the lake will be ready to listen." As you step outside, the morning sun bathes the landscape in golden light, but the image of last night lingers in your mind. The soft glow of the lantern, Hannah's whispered words, and the lake's surreal beauty. The rest of the day is spent exploring the lake's shores. In daylight, its waters are crystal clear, reflecting the vibrant blue of the sky. Birds sing in harmony with the rustling leaves, creating a melody that feels both familiar and otherworldly. Yet beneath the natural beauty, you sense something more, a whisper of stories long past. When night falls, Hannah knocks gently on your door. Stepping out, you find her waiting with everything prepared. A paper lantern, small slips of paper, and a candle. "Have you thought about it?" Hannah asks, her tone gentle but serious. "Write down what you wish to let go of, or what you long for most, on this paper. It's how we speak to the lake." You nod and sit at the table. In silence, you take the pen Hannah offers and begin to write. Each stroke of the pen feels like a release of pent-up emotions, things you've never spoken of, dreams buried by time. When you finish, you fold the paper and hold it in your hand, a mixture of relief and nervous anticipation washing over you. Hannah leads you to the lake's edge. Tonight, the moon is radiant, and the lake mirrors the starlit sky perfectly. A gentle breeze carries the scent of water and earth. Hannah carefully places a small candle inside the lantern and lights it. The flame flickers in the wind, but remains steady, like a heartbeat. "This is the moment," Hannah says, holding the lantern with both hands. When you release the lantern onto the water, imagine that all your emotions, all your thoughts, are being accepted by the lake. The lake never judges, it only listens and helps you feel lighter. You watch as she releases the first lantern. It drifts slowly, its light growing fainter as it glides across the calm surface. Hannah turns to you and gives a small nod. "Now it's your turn. It's your turn." You bend down and gently place your lantern onto the lake's surface. As it leaves your hands, an extraordinary feeling wells up inside you. Closing your eyes, you take a deep breath, and for a moment, everything seems to pause. Only the sound of the wind and the faint lapping of the waves remains. When you open your eyes, your lantern has drifted far, merging with the glow of Hannah's lantern released earlier. Together, the two lights float in the middle of the lake, their reflections shimmering on the night sky like tiny stars. Unexpectedly, Hannah speaks, her voice lower, more reflective. "Did you know? The Moonlit Lake is not just a place. It's a witness, a keeper of stories, losses, and hopes. It holds onto everything, never forgetting." You turn to Hannah and find her gazing at the lake, her expression heavy with something profound. "I've released many lanterns," she continues, her voice carrying the weight of an old tale. "Each one is a fragment of my life, what I've lost, what I've wished for. The lake has held them for me." You want to ask more, but something about Hannah's demeanor tells you she isn't ready to reveal everything. She stands there in silence, watching the lanterns drift further into the darkness. As the two of you prepare to return to the cabin, a sound comes from the forest, soft, like the wind rustling through the leaves, but also akin to a whisper. Hannah pauses, her eyes sharpening, though she shows no alarm. "Don't be afraid," she says, taking your hand. "It's just the forest. It's welcoming you." You're unsure if it's your imagination or if there truly was a voice, but the comfort of Hannah's presence dispels your unease. Back in the cabin, the fire in the hearth still crackles, casting a warm glow over the room. Hannah pours you another cup of tea and says, "This is only the beginning. If you truly wish to understand the Moonlit Lake, you'll need to listen to it for longer. The lake will guide you, little by little." You nod, curiosity growing inside you. That night, as you lie in the cozy room, strange images fill your dreams. A woman standing in the middle of the lake, holding a large lantern whose light illuminates the entire sky. Around her, shadowy figures seem to tell stories you cannot fully hear. When you wake, the lake outside your window remains still under the moonlight. Yet something within you feels different, a subtle yet powerful urge to explore, to uncover more about Hannah, the lake, and perhaps even yourself. The next morning, sunlight filters through the trees, casting a pristine glow over the lake. You wake with a dreamlike haze lingering, the images from the night before vivid yet elusive. When you step into the kitchen, Hannah is already there, preparing breakfast. A steaming cup of tea waits for you on the table, wisps of steam curling in the soft morning light. She greets you with a smile, but her eyes carry a trace of contemplation, as if she too experienced something extraordinary last night. "Today, I'd like to take you to another place," Hannah says after breakfast. "It's not far, but few know of it. I think it may help you understand more about the Moonlit Lake and yourself." Hannah leads you along the shore to a small wooden boat tethered beneath the shade of a tree. The boat is simple and weathered, clearly well used but sturdy. You step aboard, feeling the gentle sway as it pushes off from the shore. "We're going to a small island in the middle of the lake," Hannah explains, her hands skillfully guiding the oars. "I call it the Island of Memories. It's a place that holds traces of those who have come here before." The sunlight dances on the lake's surface, and you feel as though you're drifting into another realm where time slows to a halt. Hannah remains quiet during the journey, leaving you to absorb the serenity. When the boat docks, you see a small island lush with greenery. At its center lies a curious clearing. Hannah leads you there, to a massive ancient tree with roots that twist and sprawl like veins embedded in the earth. "This is where I come when I need to remind myself of what's past," Hannah says, her hand gently touching the tree's rough bark. This tree is called the memory tree. It's said to hold the stories of anyone who touches it. You step closer and place your hand on the tree. At first, you feel only the coarse texture of the bark. Then, an unfamiliar sensation courses through you. Images, faint and blurry, as though seen through a thin veil. A young girl stands by the lake, her eyes filled with tears, whispering something as she releases a lantern. An elderly man sits beneath the tree, holding an old photograph, his gaze heavy with longing. And finally, one image comes into sharp focus. Hannah, much younger, standing alone in the dark of night. Her eyes brim with pain as she releases a glowing lantern onto the lake. Startled, you pull your hand back, feeling as though you've glimpsed a part of something deeply personal. Hannah, standing behind you, watches with a calm yet serious expression. "What did you see?" she asks softly, her tone gentle but firm. You recount what appeared in your mind. Hannah remains silent for a long moment, as if weighing her thoughts. Then she sighs, her gaze distant. "Yes," she finally says, "I have a past, just like everyone who comes here. The Moonlit Lake has helped me let go of many things, but some memories remain." Hannah sits down beside the ancient tree, inviting you to join her. Sunlight filters through the leaves, illuminating strands of her hair. "You deserve to know the truth," she begins. She explains that years ago, she came to the Moonlit Lake seeking refuge from unbearable pain. A life-altering loss, a wound that could not heal, had led her here. Initially, she intended to stay for only a few days, but the lake and forest held her captive with their quiet solace. "I've released hundreds of lanterns," Hannah says, her gaze fixed on a faraway point. "Each one carried a piece of my past that I couldn't hold on to. Yet, no matter how much I let go, some memories refuse to fade." She turns to you, her deep eyes searching yours. The Moonlit Lake isn't just a place for release. It's a place for rediscovery. Everyone who comes here must face themselves, their fears, their hopes, and the secrets they've buried. On the way back to the boat, you can't resist asking Hannah, "You said the lake is a witness. What has it kept from you?" Hannah smiles, but it's a sadder smile than usual. "It holds what I cannot forget, but I'm not ready to share. Someday, if you're willing, the lake will show you." Her words carry a weight you can't ignore, but you sense it's not the time to press further. Back at the cabin, your mind swirls with questions. Every story Hannah shares only deepens the mystery surrounding her and the Moonlit Lake. There's something about this place, a pull that's both irresistible and shrouded in secrets, like the darkness beneath the lake's glassy surface. You promise yourself to uncover the truth, not just about Hannah but also about yourself, as you confront the Moonlit Lake. You wake in the middle of the night, feeling as though something had called your name. Not a clear voice, but a faint sound reverberating from deep within your subconscious. The moonlight streams through the window, illuminating the lake with silvery ripples stirred by a gentle breeze. Unable to ignore the pull, you decide to step outside, not entirely out of curiosity, but as if an invisible force is drawing you to the lake. Pulling a coat over your shoulders, you step onto the porch where Hannah often drinks her morning tea. This time, there's no warm light from the hearth or the comforting aroma of herbal tea, only shadows and the rustling of leaves in the wind. You walk slowly toward the lake. The path you've walked before feels different at night. The trees seem taller, their shadows denser, wrapping around you like a protective shroud. Yet, instead of fear, you feel a strange sense of belonging, as though the lake has been waiting for you. At the water's edge, you stop. The lake glows under the moonlight, a perfect mirror reflecting the star-filled sky. But something in the water catches your attention, a silhouette, not your own. You lean closer, peering into the surface. A face emerges in the water, faint yet unmistakable. The eyes are heavy with sorrow, staring straight through you. Suddenly, the lips of the face curl into what seems like an attempt to speak, but no sound emerges. Startled, you stumble back and trip over a small root behind you, landing hard on the ground. Sitting there, you try to calm your breathing. When you glance back at the water, the face is gone, and the lake has returned to its serene stillness. When you return to the cabin, Hannah is waiting at the door, her expression more serious than you've ever seen. "You were at the lake," she says without needing an explanation. You nod, still shaken. "I saw a face. In the water. They were trying to say something." Hannah remains silent for a long moment, her eyes drifting toward the lake in contemplation. The moonlit lake doesn't just reflect light, she finally says, her voice quiet but firm. It reflects what you carry, your memories, your pain, and the truths you've avoided. You frown. But who was that? Someone from your past? Or mine? Hannah gives you a melancholy smile, as if your question has touched an old wound. It could be someone from your past, or perhaps from mine. The lake keeps everything, but it doesn't always tell the story clearly. Only when you're ready will it show you the full truth. The next morning, you decide to investigate the lake again, this time in daylight. The water is calm and clear, just as it was when you first arrived. Yet as you look closer, you notice something strange. The lanterns you and Hannah released the night before are still there, floating idly in the middle of the lake. They didn't disappear, you whisper to yourself. But why? Hannah had said the lanterns carried pain and hope, dissolving into the water. So why are they still here, as if waiting for something? You return to the cabin, an unsettling sense of unease hanging over you for the first time since you arrived. That evening, during dinner, Hannah broke the silence. "There's a story I've never told anyone," she began. Her voice was gentle but carried a weight, and her eyes locked onto yours, as if to ensure you were truly listening. "Before I came here, I lost someone very important," she said. "Not a friend, not family, but the person I loved most. He disappeared one rainy night, right here at this lake. I searched for him endlessly, but all I found was a lantern, glowing brightly in the storm." A chill ran down your spine. Was he connected to the lake? Hannah nodded. "I believe the lake took him, or at least a part of him. That's why I've stayed. Every time I release a lantern, I hope to receive a sign, a message. But the lake never speaks directly. It only shows fragments, and I'm still trying to piece them together." You recall the figure you saw in the water. Maybe he was trying to say something to me. Hannah's eyes lit with a glimmer of hope. If he truly appeared to you, then perhaps the lake believes you can help me complete what's unfinished. You feel the story pulling you deeper into a realm where Hannah's memories and the lake's secrets intertwine. Yet, you also sense that uncovering the truth may force you to confront things that could challenge everything you thought you knew. The next morning, Hannah takes you to a place she calls the Gateway of Memories, a secluded corner of the lake shrouded by ancient willows, their long branches draped like curtains. It was here that she once found the glowing lantern in the storm, the only trace of the man she loved. This gateway isn't for everyone, Hannah says as the two of you step through the thick canopy. The lake won't reveal anything unless you're truly ready. But I believe your presence here is no coincidence. You remain silent, anticipation building in your chest. Hannah stops before a massive tree with strange symbols carved into its bark, waves interwoven in a closed circle. "This is where I began my search for answers," she says, placing a hand on the tree. "But perhaps this time, you'll be the one to find them." Hannah hands you a small lantern, much like the ones you've released before. "Light it," she instructs, "and let it guide you." You light the candle inside the lantern. Its flickering flame steadies and grows brighter as you approach the water's edge. The light reflects on the lake's surface, creating gentle ripples that seem to hum with energy. You crouch down and place the lantern on the water. Strangely, it doesn't drift away like before. It remains still, as though held by an unseen force. In that moment, a figure emerges in the water, clearer this time, and you realize it's the face of the man Hannah spoke of. His eyes meet yours, filled with urgency. His lips move, but instead of words, a sound emerges, a haunting melody, like an ancient song rising from the lake's depths. Behind you, Hannah's hands clench tightly. "Do you see him?" she asks, her voice trembling. You nod and describe the face and his pleading gaze. Hannah takes a deep breath, trying to steady herself. "That's him. He's trying to say something, but I've never been able to hear it." You sit by the water, focusing on the strange melody. It's not a voice, but a forgotten song, echoing across the surface. Hannah joins you, her eyes locked on the lantern. "This sound, I've heard it before," she whispers, "but only in dreams." You recall your dream from a few nights ago. The woman standing in the lake, the lantern's radiant glow lighting up the sky. "Maybe my dream and this melody are connected," you say, feeling pieces of the puzzle beginning to align. "What did you dream of?" Hannah asks, her voice tinged with hope. You recount the dream, describing the woman in the brilliant light of her lantern. Hannah falls silent, gripping the edge of her dress tightly. That woman, she could be me, or perhaps a memory the lake holds. The lake doesn't just reflect the present. It preserves stories we can't see with our eyes. Hannah rises, her gaze resolute. "I think we need one more piece to unravel this." She leads you back to the cabin and opens a weathered bookshelf you noticed on your first day here. She rummages through the shelves until she pulls out a thick, worn leather-bound journal. "This is my journal," Hannah says, placing it on the table. "I've documented everything that's happened since I came here, from dreams to lantern releases. There may be a clue in here about the melody and the figure you saw." The two of you open the journal and begin reading. The first pages are filled with handwritten descriptions of the lake's beauty, the serenity it offered. But as you progress, the entries grow darker. Accounts of nightmares about shadowy figures lurking beneath the water, of a voice calling Hannah's name in the dead of night. "Here it is," Hannah exclaims, flipping to a page in the middle of the journal. "I heard that song once before, the night he disappeared. I wrote down the words, but I never understood their meaning." You read the shaky handwriting, as though it was scrawled in panic. Asterisk, "Moonlight shining, where memories sink. A promise forgotten. Find me in the water's shadow." Asterisk, "This might be the key," Hannah says, her eyes filled with hope, "but I don't know how to use it." You feel a deep certainty that this song, along with the image of the man in the lake, is a crucial piece of the puzzle connecting Hannah's past and the secrets of the Moonlit Lake. Yet the question remains, how do you use these clues, and are you ready to face the truth? That evening, the sky is moonless, and the stars stretch across the heavens like a silver veil. The lake is pitch black, reflecting the faint starlight. You and Hannah stand at the water's edge, each holding a lantern. Hannah clutches the journal, the lyrics a reminder that this is no ordinary lantern ritual. "This time, we're not just releasing lanterns," Hannah says, her voice steady but tinged with nervous anticipation. "We're asking the lake for answers." Hannah kneels by the water's edge, opening the journal to the song's page. She recites the words aloud, her voice clear and deliberate, as though each syllable is absorbed by the lake. Asterisk, "Moonlight shining, where memories sink. A promise forgotten. Find me in the water's shadow." Asterisk, you sense a shift in the atmosphere. The gentle breeze over the lake stills, and the water becomes unnaturally calm, like a giant mirror, freezing the surrounding world in place. "It's time," Hannah says, lifting her lantern. "Release yours and close your eyes. Think about what you carry, the memories and emotions you want the lake to see." You follow her lead. When your lantern touches the water, a faint glow emanates from below, illuminating the lake for a brief moment. You close your eyes, focusing on the song's melody, letting your emotions and memories rise unbidden. When you open your eyes, the lake has transformed. It's no longer a calm, reflective surface, but a gateway to another realm, a familiar yet alien landscape. You find yourself in a dimly lit room, the only source of light a blazing lantern. The figure of the man from the lake materializes, clearer than ever before. He looks directly at you, his gaze filled with urgency. This time, he speaks. "Help her. Help Hannah find what's been lost." Before you can respond, the figure vanishes, leaving you alone in silence. Yet his voice echoes in your mind, resonating with a weight that feels inescapable. When you awaken, you're back at the lake. Hannah stands beside you, her face etched with worry. "Did you see something?" she asks, her voice taut with tension. You recount everything, the room, the figure, and the man's plea. Hannah listens intently, her hands trembling as they clutch the edge of the journal. "He wants me to find something," she whispers, her voice breaking, "but I don't know what it is. I've released so many lanterns, let go of so much, that I don't even remember what's most important anymore." You sense the depth of her pain in her words. Hannah isn't just searching for answers from the lake. She's searching for a part of herself that's been lost for a very long time. Placing a comforting hand on her shoulder, you offer reassurance. "We'll figure it out," you say. "The lake brought me here for a reason. Maybe I was meant to help you." Hannah looks at you, her eyes shimmering in the soft light of the lantern. "Thank you," she says quietly. "I thought I'd have to face this alone, but maybe not." As the two of you prepare to leave, something extraordinary happens. The lake, silent and still, begins to emit a faint, silvery glow, like moonlight breaking through the water's surface. At the center of the lake, where the lanterns once floated, you see something. It's not a light but an object, glimmering faintly beneath the water. Hannah follows your gaze, her eyes widening. "What is that?" she whispers. You don't know, but the pull inside you is stronger than ever. Both of you decide to return to the lake the next morning to investigate the mysterious sign further. The glow beneath the water has unveiled a new clue, one that promises to bring you and Hannah closer to uncovering the secrets the Moonlit Lake holds. But you sense that solving this mystery will require facing truths far beyond what you've imagined. The next morning, soft sunlight filters through the trees, illuminating the lake like a golden mirror. You and Hannah prepare with a small wooden boat and a few basic tools: a long hook, a sturdy rope, and a small lantern to light the way underwater. "We're going into the lake," Hannah says with quiet determination. "That sign wasn't random. I believe it's waiting for us." You push the boat from the shore and begin rowing toward the lake's center, where the mysterious light had appeared. The air is unnaturally still, and the only sound is the rhythmic splash of the oars breaking the water's surface. Although the sun has risen, the unease in the atmosphere lingers, heavy and inexplicable. As you near the center, both of you peer into the crystal-clear water. From this vantage point, you can see the faintly glowing object at the bottom, a small box enshrouded in layers of moss and algae. "We have to bring it up," Hannah says, her voice trembling slightly, "but I don't know how the lake will react." You wrap the rope around the long hook and carefully lower it into the water. Each attempt to grasp the box feels as though the lake itself is resisting. The layers of moss seem to tighten their grip. There's a strange tension, almost as if the box doesn't want to be disturbed. "Be careful," Hannah whispers, her gaze fixed on the rippling water. After several tries, you finally manage to dislodge the box and haul it onto the boat. It's smaller than you expected, no larger than a book, with a corroded metal exterior covered in green algae and fine sediment. Strangely, even out of the water, the box emits a faint, soft glow, light seemingly emanating from within. As you place it in the boat, Hannah stares at it intently. Her hands tremble as she brushes away the moss. "I've seen this box before," she murmurs, "in a dream or a memory, but I can't remember." Together, you clean the box. Slowly, intricate carvings emerge on its surface, symbols resembling interwoven waves, similar to the markings on the tree at the gateway of memories. The box has a small latch, but no visible keyhole. Hannah furrows her brow, deep in thought. "Maybe this is what he wanted me to find," she says softly. "This box, it could hold the answers." Back at the cabin, Hannah places the box on the table in the small kitchen. Both of you sit opposite each other, eyes fixed on the strange object before you. "We need to open it," Hannah says, "but I'm not sure what will happen." You suggest searching the cabin or the surrounding area for a key, but Hannah shakes her head. Her eyes take on a faraway look, as though remembering something long buried. The key isn't a physical object. It's a memory, a part of me that I've forgotten. Although you don't fully understand, you decide to trust her. Hannah closes her eyes, resting her hands on the box. She begins to whisper, perhaps the song she had recited the night before, or a prayer from deep within her soul. Gradually, the air in the room changes. A chill seeps in, causing the firelight in the hearth to flicker. Then, a faint click echoes through the silence. The box unlocks itself without a key. Inside, there are no treasures or valuables, only a carefully folded piece of aged paper and a small metallic object resembling a miniature lantern. Hannah lifts the paper, her hands trembling as she unfolds it. The paper contains a single, cryptic message. Asterisk, the light will guide you, but only if you dare to face the darkness. Find me where it all began. Asterisk. Hannah's face pales as she reads the words, her eyes wide with shock. She passes the paper to you, her voice barely audible. It's his message. You read the words, feeling a chill down your spine. Hannah sinks into a chair, burying her head in her hands. Where it all began. That was the night he disappeared. But how can I go back to that moment? You don't have an answer, but it's clear the box and its message are steering you both toward a critical juncture, where all the memories, emotions, and secrets of the Moonlit Lake will converge. The mysterious box has revealed a new layer of the puzzle, but it raises even bigger questions. Where is the place it all began? And will Hannah have the courage to confront the shadows of her past? Hannah sat silently at the small wooden table in the cabin, her hand clutching the piece of paper with the cryptic message. The firelight flickered across her face, illuminating the conflict and pain in her eyes. Where it all began, Hannah whispered. That was the night he disappeared, during the storm. But I don't know if we can find anything there after all these years. You placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder, hoping to bolster her courage. We've come this far, Hannah. If this is the only chance he has to connect with you, we can't let it slip away. Hannah took a deep breath and nodded. We'll go, but I need to warn you. The lake doesn't easily accept those who seek the truth. It might test us. The two of you prepared carefully before leaving the cabin. Hannah carried the small metallic lantern from the box, the paper with the message, and a flashlight. You brought along an old map Hannah had used when she first came to the lake. It marked the spot where she had seen the glowing lantern on the stormy night. As night fell, the two of you stepped into the small boat. The wind was stronger than usual, and the lake's surface had lost its usual calm. The light from Hannah's lantern cast flickering circles on the water, its glow faint yet steady. When we reached the spot, Hannah said, her voice trembling slightly, remember, the most important thing is to hold on to your faith. No matter how the lake tries to shake you, don't lose focus. The boat glided across the pitch-black water, where the stars and lantern light barely penetrated. The air felt heavy, charged with an unseen energy, as though the lake was watching, waiting. Finally, the boat came to a stop in a secluded corner of the lake. The water here seemed darker, deeper. Hannah pointed to a large rock jutting out of the water. This was where she had found the glowing lantern after her lover had disappeared. Hannah knelt at the edge of the boat, gently lowering the small metallic lantern into the water. Instead of sinking, it hovered, its light growing brighter, brilliant and unearthly, unlike anything you'd ever seen. It's starting, Hannah whispered, her eyes tense and focused. The water around you began to swirl violently. Waves rose and pulled the boat into a slow spin. The wind howled through the air, carrying whispers you couldn't quite understand. Don't be afraid, Hannah shouted over the chaos, struggling to keep her balance. Focus on the light. You obeyed, fixing your gaze on the lantern. Its glow pierced the darkness, and suddenly, a strange vision unfolded before you. You and Hannah were no longer in the boat. Instead, you found yourselves standing on the surface of the lake, but it wasn't the present. The scene around you was like a vivid memory come to life. Before you, a young man, the one you had seen in the water before, stood on the large rock. He was lowering a lantern into the lake, his expression filled with hope. But suddenly, the water around him began to churn, pulling him under. Hannah screamed, running toward him, but she couldn't reach him in time. His figure disappeared beneath the surface, leaving only the glowing lantern floating on the water. Present-day Hannah stood frozen, her hands clenched tightly. "I couldn't save him," she said, her voice breaking. "I stood here and watched him get pulled under." You stepped closer, trying to console her. "We don't understand everything that happened yet, but he wanted you to find the truth, and the lake is giving us that chance." The lantern's light flared brilliantly, illuminating the entire space around you. The young man's figure appeared once more, standing calmly on the water. His gaze met Hannah's, filled with serenity. "Stop blaming yourself," he said, his voice warm and resonant, echoing in the air around you. "The lake doesn't take anyone. It only holds on to what needs to be preserved. My memory is here, not to haunt you, but to remind you that you did everything you could." Hannah wept, tears streaming down her face. "But why did you leave? Why did the lake keep you?" The man smiled gently. "Because I chose to stay. I didn't want you to be trapped in the past, Hannah. You need to let go and allow me to become a part of the lake, a place where memories and hope can live on." His figure slowly faded, along with the lantern's light, leaving the lake calm once more. Hannah knelt by the water, placing her hand on its surface. "I understand now," she said softly. "The lake doesn't just hold memories. It holds hope, hope that we can continue living." You and Hannah rowed back in silence, but the heavy weight that once hung between you had lifted. Something had changed, not just in Hannah, but in you as well. When the boat reached the shore, the sun had begun its ascent, casting golden light through the trees and reflecting on the serene surface of the lake. It was as if the dawn had washed away the shadows and mysteries of the night. Hannah stepped out of the boat, her movements unsteady, but you noticed that her shoulders no longer carried the same burden. The two of you walked quietly back to the cabin. No words were exchanged, but the air between you felt lighter, as if the moonlit lake had released something that had been trapped for far too long. Inside the cabin, Hannah sat at the wooden table where the box still lay. She carefully folded the piece of paper and placed it back inside. "This box is no longer a question," she said softly. "It's an answer." You sat across from her. "So, what will you do now?" you asked, sensing an ending but also the beginning of something new. Hannah smiled, a smile that, for the first time, was free from sorrow. "I think I will keep living, but not to search anymore. Instead, to let the memories stay where they belong." He wanted me to let go, and now I understand that letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It means accepting. She stood and gazed out the window, where the sunlight danced on the lake's surface. "The lake will continue to hold memories, but I no longer need to wait for it to answer me. I already have the answer in my heart." You stayed one more day at Hannah's cabin. The two of you talked about simple things. The early days when she first came to the lake, the travelers who had visited this place, and even about yourself. Hannah said she believed the lake had chosen you, not just to help her, but to remind you that sometimes life isn't about finding answers. It's about embracing the journey itself as the meaning. The next morning, as you prepared to leave, Hannah stood on the cabin's porch, her expression serene. "Thank you," she said, "for listening, for helping me remember, and for bringing light to what I once thought was only darkness." You nodded, your heart full of emotion. As you walked down the forest path leading away from the cabin, it felt as though you had left a part of yourself behind. Not because you had lost anything, but because you had found something. Turning back for one last look, you saw the moonlit lake, still and peaceful. The light shimmering on its surface seemed like a gentle reminder that everything can be found again, as long as you are willing to face it. Hannah found her peace, and so did you. The moonlit lake wasn't just a keeper of memories. It was a place where people rediscovered hope and the strength to continue their journey. Crescent moon now. Our story has come to an end, but the gentle light of the moonlit lake continues to shine quietly within you. Close your eyes, feel the steady rhythm of your breath, and imagine yourself resting in the cozy warmth of the lakeside cabin. Outside, the tranquil water reflects the moonlight, and a gentle breeze whispers a soothing lullaby. Let all the memories of today fade away, like ripples on the surface of the lake. You are completely safe, wrapped in peace and warmth. With each breath, each beat of your heart, you take another step closer to a deep, restful sleep, where sweet dreams are waiting to greet you. Sparkles let the moonlight guide you, inviting sleep to carry you to a place of serenity and calm. Wishing you a peaceful night's rest. Sleep well. Milky Way ZZZ.